Good evening and welcome to Arlington Community Media Inc.'s ACMi, as we call it, 10th annual meeting. Actually, Norm calls it ACMi. I don't know why. It's our 10th annual meeting. We've been a corporation since 2003. We've been running the studio for 10 years under the contract with the town of Arlington, and we'll soon be renewing that for another year. This year we've had our longtime treasurer, Kathy Colwell, who's been our treasurer since 2003, is finally retiring and stepping down. So our new treasurer, who we elected last night, is Mike Ruderman. Mike's been on our board for over a year, and we're hoping he has the gumption to fill those big shoes Kathy's leaving for him. We'll train him up. We'll get him going good. This year we've done pretty good things with the town. We've fulfilled all our obligations under the contract, and we're hoping to renew. And we are in the red. Michael might want to give a quick treasurer's report. I don't know if you really want to. If you don't, we're doing good. The auditors passed us. He doesn't want to. The auditors gave us a clean bill of health. And do you want to say something or not? Sure. Go ahead.
Sure. Well, first I want to thank the board. I want to thank the board for their confidence. Like John said, my name is Michael Ruderman, and I'm the recently elected treasurer of ACMi. And thank you, guys, ladies and gentlemen who are here tonight for that vote of confidence. I stand on, petite but some very great shoulders, taking over for Kathy. It's quite a thing to have been the one and only founding, member of the board who served as long as she has. Back from before the ACMi days, Arlington Cable Association, all the way back there. Not just the technical expertise and the proficiency with all the reporting requirements and things, but just the institutional knowledge. And I hope Kathy has, time and the willingness to continue to teach me and to give us the benefit of her very great knowledge and experience. As far as the treasurer's report goes, the one nugget of news that I'm happy to share tonight is we've just concluded our regular fiscal audit. Our fiscal year is aligned with the town's closing June 30th. Our books have just passed their audit. Everything looks good with them. So we are officially a well-managed organization, and I can only say thank you again to my predecessors for giving me something to take over now that's in such good shape.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you for stepping in and taking over the treasurer's job. It's probably the most difficult job in the board of directors because you actually have to keep track of things. Well, we have a bunch of different shows for you tonight, and we're going to start with Norm, who's going to come up, who has also been with us for the 10 years we've been running the corporation. He's been our steady rock here, and the board is very proud of him and proud of all the staff here. We thank them all publicly and all the time. Whenever I see them, they do a great job, and we think they all should get a round of applause. Yeah. Thank you. Norm?
Thank you for the applause. The applause should go to the staff because, I'm only as good as the staff. And I try and be very careful about who I hire, and I've hired some excellent people. I'm not as articulate as these two gentlemen are, so I have some notes. So I'm going to refer to these on occasion. But in general, we are in good shape per John and Mike. And I'm not going to go into great detail in terms of all the changes that we've taken place over the last year because you have an annual report there. The annual report is excellent. It's an excellent report, very, very, very well done. And I want to have a vote of thanks specifically to James Milan, our outreach coordinator, and to Megan O'Brien. These are digital media coordinator. These two are the ones who put that annual report together. So can we have some applause for that? Really well done. Really well done. So it makes my job easier. I don't have to tell you anything more than what's in the report. Good night. No, there have been some staffing changes. Certainly, Megan O'Brien came in January, replacing Sean Snyder. She is the digital media coordinator. She also handles all of the Facebook, the social media stuff. We have a new employee by the name of Kevin. Kevin. What? Wetmore. I'm thinking where I was going with that sentence, so I really blew it. Okay, Kevin Wetmore. I'm sorry. Jeez, that's awful, isn't it? No, you won't get a raise either. Okay, so. That's in terms of the staffing. In terms of our equipment, all of the equipment has been upgraded to HD. You'll see when you look at Jeff's report in the annual report, and also when he's up here giving you some background and exactly where we are. We're totally cutting edge in this area. And as I said in my report, there is we have an excellent reputation in this area. We're one of the bigger stations. We're very well respected. The staff is respected, and our programming is respected. And that makes certainly me feel terrific in terms of people who come to looking for us for information. They want to have a studio tour. They want to see how we're working with Castus, how Sean Keene is doing. He's the guy who handles Castus, which is our server. All of these folks are coming in looking at us, which is, a feather in the staff's caps, collective caps, let me put it that way. So all in all, this year has been a very good year. It's been a growing year. And I just wanted to give you a quick update on a couple of things. One is the update on the contracts. Comcast and the town are still negotiating. The Comcast contract actually ran out in July 5th, 6th, sorry. And there has been no contract since then. The town has chosen not to renew their contract with Comcast. It doesn't mean Comcast is going to pick up all their toys and go away. It just means that they're going to provide service. Frankly, it could mean that they provide a bit slower service. If you have a problem, they may just slow down a little bit and not be there quite as fast. That's my understanding of how this game works, okay? RCN, on the other hand, they're the opposite type of ball game here. These folks actually came through and gave us 3 high-definition channels. And we're one of the few stations in the area that actually has a 3 high-definition channels. There's a couple of stations in the area that have 1 high-definition channel, but I think RCN saw who we were, what we were doing, where we were headed, what staffing we have, what management we have, and they decided, okay, we're going to go for it. It's also probably, since they're the poor kids on the block, so to speak, it could be that they're giving it to us, quite frankly, because they want more customers in this area. They want a piece of the pie, a bigger piece of the pie, because they know that people are watching local television. They know that more people are looking for what's going on in their town. And ACMi is the organization that provides that information through various types of formats, whether it be a talk show, whether it be the APN, the news itself. So they may be looking at this from the viewpoint of it's another opportunity for them to gain more subscribers, quite frankly. Verizon's contract is up in March of next year, and the town is beginning negotiations with them and Comcast. And by the look of it, most of the 3 providers really want to have a level playing field, which simply means they don't want to give us any more money than they have to, number one, but whatever the other guy's going to give us, they'll say, okay, we'll give you the same amount. So it means there's going to be a leveling going on probably in terms of our funding from all 3. We have good people on the Cable Advisory Committee here in town. Town manager is certainly behind us, and I know that they're being pretty aggressive with Comcast, and they're going to be pretty aggressive, I'm sure, with Verizon, which may mean more money for us. We don't know. If there's more money, it means more pizza for you, right? Okay. All right, let's just jump quickly nationally. We have a new administration coming in, whatever you may feel about that. Let me say that again. We have a new administration coming in, whatever you may feel about that. However, what that means for us on the broadest scale, because we don't know what Trump is going to do in telecommunications policy at this point. It's too new. He's only been there for what, 9 days, 10 days, something like that? Right. Exactly. Well, it means that the FCC is going to be impacted here. I guarantee you're going to have a telecommunications industry leader as the chairman of the FCC. So it sort of spills down to us in the sense that, one, net neutrality could be gone. That's one thing. There's going to be more mergers probably in the making. And we know that AT&T and DirecTV are now a conglomerate. And AT&T and Time Warner, there's been talk about them joining as well. There's a lot of people fighting that particular merger. Trump, from what I understand, is not happy, does not look at the AT&T and Time Warner merger favorably. We don't know about that. Piece of information, back in 2015, there was a white paper that came out at the federal level, and it was a question of should the Telecommunications Act be amended or parts of it changed. One of the parts that they were thinking about changing was, does it make sense in this day and age, was the question, to continue local programming called PEG when we have the internet? So why do local programming when everybody's on the internet? There was enough public pushback on that the Republican administration, well, Republican Congress, Republicans on the committee at the time, decided not to go further with that. But that can be revived. So it means that politically, community access television stations have to be very aware of what's going on. So my closing statements basically are, we want to expand our membership. We need to expand our membership. If you know somebody who's politically active, somebody who wants to have a voice in the community and maintain their voice in the community, have them talk to us. Have them come in. Let's develop more programming of a nature that's informative to the community in Arlington. Let's have a more awareness on what's going on politically. For the survival of community television, yes, but you and I know it could be the survival of a lot more than that. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to go too much further with that. So this has got to be a grassroots movement, and I'm asking all of you to think about doing more at ACMi, getting more people involved, because we are going to be putting a push on for more membership, both on the news side and the public side, shall we say, and the educational side, obviously, as well. So all in all, it's been a good year, and I'm hoping that things will not go awry, let's put it that way. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that's enough of my political pitch. I'm going to turn this over to more detail. A person who's going to give you more detail, and that's Jeff Monroe. So Jeff, he is a studio manager, and he's going to give you the details of what's going on with ACMi from equipment, studio, and all the words that I have no idea what he's talking about.
Sure, because at least he didn't steal my thunder this year.
That's right.
So that's me, not Norm. That's also me. So facility upgrades, I have the great responsibility and privilege of explaining some of the facility upgrades that we've done this past year. I'd love to say first, one of my favorite pieces of equipment is the new digital audio mixer that's in the control room. This allows us to connect directly to a computer, record multi audio tracks. It also allows us to be teaching when we have college interns and high school students and or anybody here at the studio. They're now using something that's industry standard. The digital mixers today have all of the built-in effects. We used to have racks and racks of analog effects. These are all modeled and now internal, built into this one system. So it's a pretty powerful computer built right into the mixer. Facility upgrades, this is the craziest picture of Studio B that we could have possibly put. But I'm going to go back to A for a bit. Studio A, we have gone to a router-based control room. So all of the SDI signals go through the control room. So all destinations, any monitors, any record decks, and any sources, cameras, computers, everything now hits one hub. And it's great for us because it's on the network. We can get to it easily. We can make the switches we need. And it really expanded the use and abilities of our control room. The Studio B upgrades, they have inherited our studio cameras that were here as we upgraded our studio cameras here to the new Hitachis. Our JVC studio cameras have gone to Studio B. This is an older picture of Studio B, so you can see what they were using was just camcorders set up, playing the role of studio cameras. The town hall facility upgrades, we did go to a router-based, HD SDI router-based setup over there because they can now, again, this was taken while we were installing some of this gear, but you can actually now take cables that are linked to each of the meeting rooms, and you can be in the auditorium, you could be in the selectmen's chambers. What are the other rooms? Auditorium? The annex has now been completed. We can now tap into the annex. And the hearing room. So the hearing room is all wired for our production, and it would be controlled by the robotic controls here in the control room. So I thank the town and for the cooperation of getting into that room. Behind this image is the coat room, so you can hang coats behind the control room. And again, equipment upgrades, there are many, but the ones to really shout about are these new studio cameras. We are now working with pro studio cameras. Again, our interns, our members, any students that are here learning, they're learning on very similar cameras that they will use in the professional world. These are network cameras. They're fiber optic. Now one cable goes to the camera where we used to have 4. The one cable will connect to the teleprompter. It'll connect the tally, your intercom, so it's all off of one cable. So we're excited about that. Staff and member, equipment upgrades. The Blackmagic cinema cameras that we have had for a while shared a lens kit with the DSLR cameras. So anybody that's looking to do cinematic programming, the digital cinema camera now has cinema lenses. So these are full HD lens kits that have been put together over the summer. We've done a couple projects with them. They look beautiful. So we are excited to be offering those to our members. Studio B has some of the most impressive equipment upgrades for the student use. All of the camcorders that they use to cover sports or any of their mobile production, their cameras have now been upgraded to HD SDI, and we had a 4-camera switcher, a nice portable broadcast PIX, that when linked together with an SDI router, you can now add 16 inputs to what was traditionally a 4-channel system. So that's exciting. And Stas, who is directing right now, is, again, very excited about that because instead of a 4-camera shoot, he can now have a 6-camera shoot with instant replay and with other effects that the router will allow for a 4-camera switcher. Let's see. Staff and member resources. We are always excited to be pushing the envelope, trying new things. We have archive servers now for things that are played on demand. They can now be archived. Edit servers have been expanded, so there's more space. We have servers in the, what are the other servers? So we have edit servers. Oh, the playback servers, and I'm sure Sean will speak to that. The edit servers have been expanded at both A and B, so they're separate servers. And we have, Inception, which I'll let Brenda talk about the details of what Inception is, but that's another server we installed into our master control. Sports updates, there's one of the new cameras. Again, we also have new reels. So when you're set up in the press box, we send one cable down to this guy that's on the field, and on the end of it, he can plug in his camera, he can plug in his microphone, and he can also plug in his intercoms. So that one cable now makes him pretty well equipped on the sidelines. Let's see, master control. There's our playback servers. I don't know, not many people get to see master control. That's behind the scenes. And there's both the old camera and the new camera. You can see the electronic differences there. This is definitely a more professional camera. The lens is considerably larger than the older lens. And then the sensor itself is much bigger. So it's an exciting new upgrade to the studio. I don't know if anyone has any questions on any of those things that I just stated, but if not, I'm just going to pass it on to programming or our production manager. Any questions on studio or facilities? No? All right, that was easier than I thought.
All right. Thank you.
Jonathan.
All right. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Well, with all of this great equipment, our members have been putting it to extremely great use, creating original content. This year we have 205 hours of originally produced local run programming. We're continuing to run and produce programs with volunteers from the previous years that we've mentioned. And this year we're excited to have 11 new series from this year alone. So new series that's 3 or more episodes that are either airing weekly, monthly, some are quarterly. But it's really exciting. You can see an example of some of the frames. We have some new health and wellness shows, new educational programs. We have some cooking programs, talk shows, topical conversations, music programming. So a lot of variety. So our members are coming in and producing content with this great equipment and teamwork to create some great content. One of our favorite nights that we have, one of my favorite nights, and I know some of you in the audience too, are our Wednesday night studio nights. That's in its 3rd year at this point, which I cannot believe it's our 3rd year. We meet every week on Wednesdays from 7 to 9. At 6:30 we have pizza and orientations for new members to come in. And we work together as a group to create shows. It targets a lot of our members or potential members or returning members by being a place for new people to come in and learn the ropes kind of on the fly. They can observe or maybe just join the show. New producers starting out a show can pilot their program with a full crew intact. And the crew, volunteers, can come in to either network, to meet other filmmakers, to work on each other's programming, to get feedback on their shows that they have, or just kind of learn and build their skills that they can use all over, whether it's for events or they take their skills to news or sometimes to meetings. But it's really just a great place to get together. It's a fun environment. You're learning and not any judgment, and to kind of learn as you go and upgrade and teach each other. What's that? Yeah, it's really fun. I love it. Jeff mentioned some tech advancements. I want to talk specifically about these 2 monitors. It's has a small footprint but a really big impact. These monitors have really changed a lot of what we can do because they're not just monitors for presentations, which we certainly use them for. They're also integral for set design, used for backdrops, set elements. We can show movie posters when filmmakers come in. Producers can use them to have Skype conversations, so we're not just limited to guests in Arlington. People can bring guests in from the studio from all over the world now in a really visually attractive way. And they can actually be physically in the room and the space with them. And also it can be used for news or other programs that display information. And they rotate. I'm not going to rotate here, but it rotates as well. So you can potentially find other uses, whether it's for doing weather or having a live conversation with someone's cell phone out in the field, which we've tested but haven't done yet. But I feel like we're always finding new ways to use monitors. And if you watch program on the news, on television, you'll see the monitors are really the future. So it's great to have these large format screens to really experiment with. And we're continuing our media partnerships with interns from area colleges, working with different groups around town to share their messages. So some of the groups that we're partnered with this year, we've worked with the Chamber of Commerce, the Council on Aging, the Arlington International Film Festival, Senior Medicare Patrol. They actually came in to do some foreign language PSAs, which I think is really cool. I would love to see more of those. Department of Public Works, Arlington Center for the Arts, True Story Theater, Dallin Museum, and 10 others. So that's been really great. And I just want to show you a couple minute clip of some programs that have been produced throughout the whole year. So can we get that queued upstairs? Thank you.
When I was growing up, I loved going to arcades.
Do you like goji berries?
Love goji berries.
Can you tease that out a little bit for us and why Arlington students might be getting a very different perspective of the military than students in different areas?
But packaged foods are where we have the biggest problem in our country.
We were having a conversation and all of a sudden the expression on my face just changed and I looked super upset. And she's like, are you okay? What's going on? And she looks and she sees like a couple officers walking across the street.
Hold their hand
and say, there are no words.
I'm so proud of all the members who have come in for these programs. You know, they've become my, great friends, and I love working with everybody creatively. Oh, I'm starting to laugh. And I'm turning it over to.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yay! Thank you. So, Sean?
Hi, I'm Sean Keene, ACMi's Government and Programming Coordinator. I'm not much of a public speaker, so I'll try to keep this brief. To start off with, part of my duties is programming our 3 channels, public, education, and government. One of the new features we're implementing is an automatic program guide that will actually play during our community bulletin board. So anytime we just have something coming up, they'll read it right on Castus and throw up the title. Right now we have it implemented just on Gov. We hope to roll it out on public and education soon. My main duties is covering government meetings in town. Because of a lot of things going on, we've been increasing coverage of a lot of kind of subcommittees. For example, school enrollment task force has been a big thing that's just been on a lot of people's mind in town. One of the major meetings we've just been covering is the school enrollment task force, which has members from various boards in town. Other kind of things happening are the debt exclusion vote, the adoption of the CPA, the Community Preservation Act. All these things are just on people's minds in town, and we're just trying to get as much coverage and as much transparency as we can. This year, we have a combined 175 hours of content just from Gov. And to continue, one of the major things, of course, we cover every year is the annual elections. This year, there were 2 kind of major contested races, the selectmen and school committee. We held 2 debates in the studio, as well as creating candidate profiles and covering the League of Women Voters debate, which we do every year. Finally, with a number of just controversial issues happening, including the Minuteman Regional High School district vote, the zoning of the medical marijuana dispensary, the development of the Mugar property along Route 2, all these things are just always on people's minds, and we're trying to just cover whatever meetings and events that are requested by the community. And as we roll into a new year, we just hope to continue and expand with our coverage and just transparency in town with government. And we'll play a short video.
All right, Sean.
is Kevin Wetmore. Kevin Wetmore.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kevin Wetmore, and I came on as youth coordinator here in January. And since I've been here, I've just been amazed with the Arlington community. It's like an awesome place. I love this organization, and the kids I've been working with are just amazing, and they've blown me away. We have, let's see. Ooh. How do I go back there? At the high school, we have a group called Focus Media, which this year became a official club actually within the high school, which is great because it helps us promote in the high school. We can have announcements in the morning and whatnot, and it just helps to recruit new kids. We have a bunch of new freshmen that have started coming. They meet every Wednesday after school over in Studio B and do a variety of studio programs, field shoots. Recently, a big success they had was we organized a presidential debate before the election with the Teen Democrat Club and the Teen Republican Club. And we had a studio audience in Studio B of like 20 people, which is a lot of people in Studio B, if anyone's ever been in there. And then another group in the high school streaming it live, watching it there. And then there were about 400 people streaming it at home live on YouTube, which it was the first time we've ever done a live stream out of Studio B, which was pretty exciting. And also, lots of members of this Focus Media group are always just helping out around ACMI on different productions all the time. One of our amazing students, Gayatri, does something called Ponderscope that she shoots every week, which is an update on what's going on in the high school. And that's watched by a lot of students and probably more so parents to just kind of keep you informed on, you know, like where to buy tickets to the dance or what events are going on. And that's a great weekly programming we do. Studio B is in production every single week, usually multiple shows. And also one of our really amazing students, as Jeff mentioned, is in the control room right now directing this show. That's Stas. And then also at Arlington High School, we've been big on sports production this year. We've covered, just this season, we've covered the entire girls and boys seasons, as well as the football season.
Girls and boys what?
Girls and boys soccer seasons. The girls soccer team's like in the state championship game on Saturday. They've been phenomenal. And I think I counted today, just the fall sports alone has over 3,000 views on YouTube from all the games we've shot, which is awesome. And for football, we have a huge production. The kids do it all on their own. They set everything up. We have commentary. We have guys on the field. We have a whole crew in the press box. It's really like almost a professional level production of football. We'll be filming the Thanksgiving game on Thursday, so definitely check it out and watch that as they play Arlington Catholic. And also another big part of my role is the work in the schools. We have a big presence in the Audison Middle School, where I'm always going in and leading workshops and helping out on their different productions, concerts they have at the school, different events they have at the school. They recently had a big Inside Out art project addressing the diversity of the Audison School and celebrating that. And the students did a really great news segment for it. And they have their own little studio there and everything, and they meet every Friday after school. The Austin kids are also starting a new cooking show with 2 French chefs that live in town. So that's like just a really fun shoot, and I get to go and eat food when I help out with them on it every time, which is awesome. And also this year, we just started a partnership with the Arlington Catholic School. And every week on Wednesdays, I teach a class there during part of their arts block. So their students, all brand new to video production and everything, come in and learn how to use cameras. One week we might do a lighting workshop. We shoot interviews. And those kids seem to be having a blast. And then 7 of the students from that class have come on as interns who are who are giving extra hours aside from the class every week to do productions to try to give us content from Arlington Catholic. So, for example, they're going to be shooting the Powder Puff football game they have this week. They shot a bunch of interviews for us to play at halftime during our production of the Arlington Catholic versus Arlington High School football game coming up. It's just great to get a new batch of students involved from Arlington Catholic School. And they're all very new to this, and they're learning it, and they're having a lot of fun and kind of seeing what they're capable of and what resource we are to them. So with that, I will leave you guys. Oh, and also I wanted to mention Summer Fun, which when school's out in the summer, we run a summer camp called Summer Fun for middle school students, and they basically just take over Studio A for a week, and it's crazy in here, and they're using all our equipment, running around. They learn everything from green screen stuff, and by the end of the week, they're shooting their own short films. Walter here starred in one of their awesome short films, and it's a crazy week, but it's a blast, and it's another good way to just get different kids into the studio and let them play around here at Studio A. So here is a reel of the work that our youth has done this year, and it's some amazing stuff, so I hope you enjoy it.
There we are. Okay. So it's been quite an interesting year within Arlington Public News. We did have a change when our leader of Arlington Public News, our news director, Sarah, had to take a leave of absence. So we were challenged at first, but I think we really rose to the challenge. It was an opportunity for staff to become, I think, more involved in news and understanding how news is created and how it comes about and comes together. It was also a chance for us to take a look at our newscasts and the types of stories we're reporting on and how we're packaging them all together during our bi-weekly newscast. And it's allowed for some opportunities for change, sorry. And I think some exciting things as well. So one of them is, first off, I would call it an energized newscast. What we have is we have like maybe a 20 to 30 minute bi-weekly newscast, and what we've done is we've really added some elements to it that tell people what is going to be coming up in the newscast, as far as we have now video and soundbite opens and teases to let people know, hey, this is what you're going to see in the story, in the newscast. This is maybe helps gain people it helps keep their interest in the newscast and seeing what's coming up. It's called teases, and they're a tease for a reason because you want to keep having them come back. So we've incorporated that. We also have what we call Arlington Snapshot, and two things that does is it allows some interaction for the anchors to have a person live, although we're not actually live, in the studio and deliver a report to the anchors. It looks really good utilizing one of the panels. As Jonathan alluded to, you'll see that on TV programming everywhere now. Some sets are entirely just panels. If anyone who watches the news, Fox 25 is entirely panels now. And it's also allowed for us to kind of give a quick rundown of what's going on in Arlington. A lot of times we're pulling from the government meetings because they're not necessarily something that we're going out and doing a package on, but it is important information, such as Sean had talked about, UGAR, school enrollment, marijuana dispensary, lots of things, growth, housing, everything. So there's ways for us to get some quick information out there as to what's going on in Arlington. And then, of course, we have our video featured packages where we have a reporter out in the field and going and conducting the interviews. So that's kind of what we've been focusing on for the newscast. Just take a look at my phone here, make sure I'm not missing anything that I wanted to say. Tools and resources. This is just simply the login page, but we have something that is called Inception, and it's really a show production software. And News is utilizing it because it allows us to really build rundowns. And that tells everyone who is involved in news, and even those who aren't involved in news, they can go in and see what stories we're working on and whether or not it's a package or it's just a voiceover or it's a soundbite. And then also it's a great way for us to instantly communicate with one another. We all have our own username and passwords, and it's not for security reasons. It's so I can send an IM to someone and say, hey, here's this file. You can even, as Jeff mentioned, since it's a server, we can actually even send video files this way. I would love for people to utilize it even more throughout other shows and programming, but it's just something that is just a great communication tool and resource for us, and it can do a lot more as well with that. So that's been fun and really real privilege actually to have that, because this is what news stations are using, either similar software to this. So it's exciting. I just want to make sure I didn't just look at my notes here, because I think there may have been something else I wanted to talk about with resources. Excuse me, sorry. New iPhone 7 still can't quite figure it out. Okay. Was that the next one, I think? Yes, intern recruitment. That's also a big resource for us, and we've been able to refocus our intern recruitment with the help of James kind of taking the lead, really, of intern recruitment for not only Arlington Public News, but for ACMi. And so they really are ACMi interns. We've streamlined our orientation, and we've worked on letting them know that there's other opportunities other than news, and some are actually even pursuing other programming or production opportunities, and some are coming in through news. So we have a strong relationship with Emerson, both from just simply staff here attending the recruitment fairs, but also I still have my college professor who actually lives in Arlington, and she is the journalism associate at Emerson, and so she's always sending us some strong journalism interns as well. And so the word is getting out that ACMi, even though it may be a little bit of a haul on the T if you're coming from right in downtown Boston, it's a great place to really learn. And we have other relationships with Tufts is another one of our number one, which is close by. This is one of our Tufts stars right here, and so we've done a lot with our streamlining our orientation and really onboarding of interns. And with that, I think overall our impact, we've seen our impact increase in social media presence. We've had, we put up all of our segments as well as our newscast. I'd like to drive people to the newscast, but we also know that people just want a quick hit want to be able to just see what segment they're interested in looking at. So we always are having something fresh and put out there each day with the help of Megan, and we've kind of come up with a new process for that, so no one is getting too bogged down with social media. And with that, we take a little bit of a look at our impact. We have an increase in watch minutes, I think, over last year. About 16% people are watching total minutes. They're watching it for longer, 16% longer than they were the year before. And some of our segments we've never even boosted our segments or any of our, which you pay to get it boosted and you can reach thousands and thousands of people, but sometimes, we don't know why, but it may have to do with this one right here. Last week is a good case in point. Our election reaction story had 1,400 impressions. And that has to do with, making sure that you're not just posting it on your own feed, but you're going and posting in other community groups on social media. It takes a lot of effort, social media. We could do a lot more with it, but at least, we're doing what we can, and we're seeing some success with that. And then also just word on the street. I'm just feeling that, we're making a lot of connections, we're growing those connections, and we're becoming a respected, if we weren't already, just a more so respected destination and source for news. And now people realizing, hey, we better let APN know about, what's going on as well, and including us. And one of the biggest things that we had a great impact was the school ballot questions as well. So when we can do longer format or talking points that are, something that we can handle interview-wise, we'll do those types of segments as well. But mostly we're doing field reporting and taking a lot from Government Channel as well. So I think with that, we will show you a little bit of a highlight reel, and we look forward to doing more great things.
In this edition of APN, a soldier comes home 65 years later.
Reason, who?
Welcome to Arlington Public News. I'm Carla Dorado.
And I'm Paul Werland. Thanks for joining us.
Developers of a proposed affordable housing project delay their hearing with town regulators.
Hi, I am Kayla Chiara, here with Arlington Public News.
I'm Zach Merchant.
And I'm Christina Gaspard.
We're here on location at Spy Pond Field.
I'm currently standing outside of Arlington's newly renovated police station.
I'm Christina Gaspard here at Arlington Center's Broadway Plaza for the 4th Annual Summer Arts Block Party.
An art center that was forced out of their longtime location now looks forward to a new facility.
Scoop and Scootery is not your traditional ice cream parlor. They also offer a unique 2 a.m. delivery service.
The Inside Out project has hung up approximately 100 black and white photos of Ottoson students on the exterior of the school.
Almost 1/3 of Arlington's 32,000 registered voters voted early this year.
After a one-year relocation to Cambridge, the 6th annual Arlington International Film Festival returned to where it belongs.
I'm standing outside the Somerville City Hall, where another protest has broken out in connection to the Black Lives Matter movement.
That and more coming up next.
Hey Jeff, is it all right if I use this? Okay. Cool. And I didn't get trained on this at all, I'm guessing. Yes. That's me. Okay, hello. I'm James Milan, and I'm the outreach coordinator. Basically, everybody does my job for me and has just done my job for me. In terms of what was described by each person about their particular scope of duties, all of it adds up to outreach for us, obviously. All of it is reaching out into the community to make new connections all the time, to make ourselves more valuable to Arlington, which is the only thing that we have to do really, really well. And it is only one of a number of things, in fact, that we do really well. Now, before I just describe 3 things that I'm particularly proud of in terms of our outreach this year, I did want to say that downstairs a little bit earlier, my good friend and predecessor, Walter Locke, took me aside and said, you know, Megan did a great job with that annual report, but she tells me that you're pumping her up too much, James. She's getting too big ahead, et cetera. So I've taken steps to address that already, the first of which was that I left Megan entirely off the agenda for tonight, which hopefully you're happy about that, Walter, because I'm not and nobody else is. So I apologize. I apologize to Megan, who will follow me to describe her own work here, and it has been fabulous, and it was total oversight, and I'm sorry about that. No. Okay. Whoops. Okay. So I wanted just to highlight, as I said, 3 of the different things that we do. Although, again, before I do that, very quickly, what Brenda was just saying about the interns, what Jonathan was describing earlier about reaching out to community partners, which we do in a number of different ways, all of those things excuse me, are things that I get to be involved with as the outreach coordinator. It is a wonderful privilege to work here because we have a great story to tell, but also because as the outreach coordinator, I'm allowed to get involved in all of these different kinds of things. And Norm is very kind in terms of seeing my job as flexibly as I like to see it, and allowing me to stay constantly interested in everyday's activities here. Like the rest of the staff, so I really appreciate that. Wanted to mention global to local. So one of the things about Access Television in the last 5 to 10 years is the proliferation of outlets that take us beyond this community. You know, we already have talked about hits for different things that we've done. You may or may not know that the ride-along that we did with the Arlington Police Department that took Sarah about a year or so of Sarah-type diplomacy to finally arrange. That ride-along, Sean Keane is always the one who has the absolute latest figure, but I'm sure it's over 11 or 12,000 hits now, and many of those come from way beyond the bounds of Arlington. So in that way, Global to Local is something that is the series that we have conceived of because there are certain things that are happening on a regional or a national or sometimes even a global scale that obviously are going to affect Arlingtonians, not to the exclusion of everybody else or any more than everybody else, but no less. And this is one of the things that we were talking about. While it's not a big issue, particular issue in Arlington because police relations with the community in Arlington are quite strong, and we have a pretty fabulous police department, I would say. Nonetheless, we needed to have and wanted to feel like we were adding our voice to a conversation we think needs to be happening as often and as in as many places as possible. And as you can see, we compiled a panel that included the Chief of Police, Fred Ryan, but also 3 other members of the community, each of whom had a particular perspective of great value to offer to this conversation. And then the conversation itself was conducted in here with crew made up of staff, interns, and volunteers, and creating an overall atmosphere of trust among the various participants. And we had the kind of conversation that I hope that you guys have seen. If not, I would urge you to do so. I think it is a good model for the kind of exchange of views that is respectful but absolutely frank, that if anything's ever going to get better, this is the kind of thing that needs to happen. So we hope to continue this series in not simply addressing this topic, which is as compelling as it is. It's not the only one. But we are proud to have made another good installment in that series, and we know that people are interested in it beyond the bounds of Arlington. Whoa, baby. Again, Megan does a lot of my job for me, which is really very, very nice. One of the things that we needed to do that Walter had done at great personal cost was provide a newsletter regularly. And we want to communicate to our members because we feel like things are so busy, so productive, and the content is so rich here that we really want to share that with as many of our members as possible. So in case they haven't paid attention for the last year or 2 years or some length of time, there may be something in that newsletter that really grabs their attention and brings them back into the fold. So the newsletter itself has different features. We always want also to highlight a member so that people can relate to. So Lee is here in the audience, and he was highlighted in one of the recent newsletters because his story of how he came to be a member and what he's been involved with since becoming a member is absolutely, it's inspiring. And it also has enough different elements to it that somebody can connect to that. And that's what we're always looking to do, is make sure that we give people a reason just to start to investigate ACMi. If they come in and do so, we're very confident that we'll be able to encourage them to do more as we go along. So look for, we had to take a little hiatus on the newsletter while we were producing an annual report. But we will be back in business as of December or January at the latest. And then finally, we have fall workshops that we made quite a push to provide a number of different workshops. This is a model that we look at regularly over time. Sometimes we think that it's working, sometimes we think it's not. And I would say the jury is out right now, except that it's a good example. The breadth of different workshops that we offered, or just the variety of the workshops that we offered, from the entirely practical use of a DSLR to something that is a lot of fun. You're going to be learning things as well, but fun would be recreating a horror movie, particular scenes from a horror movie was another offering that we made. We also had one that was targeted to a very specific audience. That being college applicants and or their families, and talking about teaching them about the power of video as part of their application, etc. So we're trying to hit practical and aspirational needs, or practical needs and aspirational ideas and dreams, and as a way of, again, enticing people into ACMi. Once they get here, you guys are all familiar with the people you've heard from today and how we operate in general, so you know that the experience is going to be a good one for members once they walk in the door. And I don't have any sizzle reel because there's no sizzle to the things that we were doing. But thank you very much, and I hand it over to Megan. Do you want this?
Stay away from the microphone.
Okay.
What's your name?
Oh no, I lost my notes. No, seriously, I did. I'll try to do. Is there a little Post-it note around anywhere? It's okay.
Wing it.
I'm gonna wing it. Me. Oh, thank you, Jeff. There's some numbers on here that I wanted to. So I'm Megan O'Brien, as you might have guessed from this slide. And I just wanted to start off and say that, I've worked here since January, and I feel so lucky to work with the people that I work with. It's one of my favorite parts of this job. And then the other night, I was hanging out pretty late, and Woo was here, and she said, everyone who works here is really nice. So I'm going to out you, Woo. And I just wanted to say, I didn't say back, but every member that we get to work with here is really nice, and I'm just super appreciative of that. So I wanted to say that first. Oh, I went backwards. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is when I started here in January, one of the first things I worked on was the Community Connections program, which is what we called it. But basically the CBB needed a revamping, and I was brought on as the digital media coordinator to do a lot of the graphic design, to do the website stuff. So I got to redesign CBB slides for all these different community organizations. And you can see some of them here. This one, Wide Angle, is not a community organization, but I wanted to put that up there anyway. And it was a really great program because we got to work with different organizations and help revive a connection with them and then bring them back into the studio. And some of them have since worked with Jonathan to make the Retired Men's Club, made a PSA with him. Little Fox has submitted other CBBs for us. It's kind of reminded them that we exist. We're now working with the Philharmonic Society of Arlington again. So a lot of really good things have come out of this program. I wanted to talk about events because when I also started, I keep touching the wrong thing. when I also started, I got to work on A-Town, which is the kids' event, and I was kind of the point person for that until Kevin came on. And it was just a really fun thing to coordinate. And then in the summer, it kind of took over my life was the ACMi Awards. And it went beyond just doing the graphic design. I got to do a lot of the pre-production kind of work. I got to produce or help produce the documentary that got made and kind of decide on what the theme of the evening was going to be. And there was just a lot that went into it. And so it was really fun to work on. The social media, why I brought my numbers, is another part of my job that I have been trying to, really bring up our social media. And before this, I think we tried to get stuff done, but it was kind of an extra on someone's plate. And now we have a more regular social media kind of going out on Facebook. And before I came on, we didn't have a lot of videos on YouTube, so we switched over to YouTube in March, which is great to know that we have 35,000 plus minutes of watched YouTube videos just on the ACMi channel. That's in the annual report. I have to say that's compared to 200,000 minutes of APN, but but we're building, and we also started a lot later, and so we've also have Instagram now, and we have over 100 followers on Instagram. We've built our Facebook followers, Constant Contact, which I can't really take credit for, but we have really good members, and we have a 30% open rate, which means people actually read our emails, and that's actually, it sounds maybe low to some, but it's much higher than other Constant Contact open rates. So it's good to know that people are looking at what we're putting out there. And the website, which I just wanted to bring out quickly because this is my new big thing. And Lee is sitting in the audience, who's been very instrumental in helping me rebuild and look at the data that we can be using on our current website and how to bring it into a new website that will work better for us and be a little bit better designed, because I know there are some complaints. That is the next big thing that I get to work on. So. And then I get to play my sizzle reel of all the graphics.
For those of you who remember, we've been here for 10 years, and as that old phrase goes, we've come a long way, baby. We really have. When you think about what ACMi was like when we started, as I said in my report, 2 individuals, no computers, and 2 desks, to this. So, as I also said to you, I'm very, very happy to say that I have one of the best staffs that I can possibly imagine. I want to thank each and every one of you. You make my job easier, and as James said, you make his job easier too. So, thanks. Oh, that. Hello?
It's on? Oh, okay. So, does anyone have any questions about Walter?
I think in your opening remarks you said something.
Oh, I get this mic.
If I'm not mistaken, in your opening remarks, you said that, and we're in the red, rather triumphantly. Are we?
We're always in the red. Stop spending my money.
Oh, I see. Okay.
No, we're in the blue. We're always in the black. I said red? No. We've never been in the red. We're always in the black.
Boy, thank you.
I'm a cheap bugger. I don't let them spend everything we get. Any other questions?
So can you explain more about what will happen with Verizon, and also how is it going to work, with RCN providing HD, but the other providers not?
Well, RCN has now signed their contract, which gives us the 5% operating money, which we get from the other two providers as well. We're pretty sure that's going to maintain right across the board for Comcast and Verizon as well. It's not out of their pocket. RCN has provided us with a capital grant as well, but we're not sure Verizon and Comcast are going to match where they are. They came in at 1 or 2% of their gross revenues. We don't think that's going to hold with the other two. We're hoping Comcast and Verizon come in with the 3 HD channels. We'd probably be happy with 1. They don't want to give us the other HD channels because it uses up too much bandwidth. Now, they have a ton of it. They don't want to give it away for free. It's money maker for them. But the town is using the fact that RCN gave us the 3 as kind of a cudgel to get something out of them. So we're hoping we can get the other HDs. I don't think RCN will take it away because they've given it to us and we're using it. So we're hoping it continues. Yeah.
And maybe this is more for Norm, but how will it work, with one provider giving us HD? So as a producer, do you produce your programs, as if they're going to be watched in HD or if they're not going to be watched?
Jeff's going to answer that for us. He's back there motioning like a madman.
Glad to answer that. So it hasn't happened yet, but when they do give us the equipment that transports HD channels back to their head end, we're going to take all of our channels, HD output, send it out of a distribution amplifier, and then we're going to downgrade from HD to standard def for the other 2. So that coming out of our playback server, it's going to be HD. So, and we are hoping that we get the 3 channels, because then we don't have to choose which one we give to Verizon or Comcast. We should just be giving them 3.
Yeah, that'd be optimal.
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah. Any other questions? Okie then. Again, I want to thank all the staff, but I also want to thank the members. They're what makes this. That's what makes ACMi, the members. It also, one of my jobs is to keep the town happy so they can keep giving us contracts. And with all the work that the staff does and the members does, I don't really have to do anything. They just, every time I talk to the selectman, the town manager, I get nothing but positive feedback that we're a great organization and they're more than happy to have us here. So go ahead, thank yourselves, and thank everyone for coming to our 10th annual meeting, and we'll see you next year.